Do you know where I watched that grand final last year, Matt? I watched it in London because I was performing that night at the Apollo there. And so me and Tom from this show, Tom and I got up at 4 a.m. and watched Kiss.
After the show or before the show?
Before the show.
Oh, professional.
And watched Kiss. But also we had a whole thing about what foods we were going to get. And it was trying to find the closest thing to a pie in London. And the best we could do was go to Greg's and get some like beef pasty situations or something like that.
Yep.
What else did we do? Hot dogs and stuff like that. But also like I tried, because food is synonymous with great sports experiences for me. The perfect snack.
Absolutely, yeah.
But you can't force yourself to like a hot dog at 5 a.m. is what I learned.
No, that is absolutely true. It's like cracking. You think it's gonna be great. I'll drink beers. It'll be really good. And you go, no. I just want a cup of coffee or a cup of tea.
What I learned in that moment is you've got to pair the experience with the time. You can't fake it. So it's coffee and pancakes, or it's you don't have to eat yet. You know what I mean? Yeah. That was my takeaway.
Yeah, I think you're right though. I think that part of that experience of going to games is where you go beforehand, what you eat beforehand, what you eat at the ground, where you go afterwards. This is all part of that kind of great joy of going to football. And there's no doubt that I always joke that there's no better flavour than a pie at the football when your team's 6 goals up. I mean that's the best tasting pie you're ever going to have. Let's
talk about pies now. At the AFL games, it's always going to be a 4 and 20 pie.
Mm-hmm.
Now I love a 4 and 20 pie. I think it sits really nicely in, for something that's done mass produced.
So you wouldn't go crudités? You wouldn't go a little sushi? You wouldn't go a wurst of some form?
I'm pretty set in pie and chips, right? But is that?
Oh, you'll go pie and chips.
Is that societal, or is it cultural, or is it something that?
No, I think there's an absolutely crucial link between what you've grown up with going to watch football and what you like. I mean, the two become intrinsically part of it. Growing up and going to Stamford Bridge to watch Chelsea is slightly different, but you'd buy a wagon wheel, which is they were the size of your head. They were kind of like
what's a wagon wheel?
A chocolate covered double biscuit with marshmallows and jam in the middle.
Great.
Okay, you bought that because the other alternative was these terrible burgers that were bobbing in a kind of brackish brine with these dried onions that had been reconstituted on the flat grill. It was, and it smelled. You came home and your green fur-lined hooded parka would smell of these stenchy onions.
So you're a sweetie boy at the football?
Well, no, only because the savoury stuff was so bad. So coming here and going pie and understanding the only real debate with the pie is whether you're a tomato sauce dollop or a tomato sauce
across the whole
smear is crucial, and definitely you're not a tomato sauce poured inside when you've removed the top to eat separately, because that's just weird.
Yeah. I feel like AFL food at games is stunted at the moment. I've been lucky enough to go to a fair few NBA games, and you'll have these small businesses inside stadiums that are also almost subletting, where you're getting real variation from pizza to like po' boy. I
think people are trying to do. I mean, obviously you've got what's happening at GMHBA at Cardinia.
What are they doing?
Chin Chin, I think, have gone in there.
What?
Previously, there's been I don't know if it's opened yet. Previously, there's Aaron from Igni was doing his hot chicken project there for a while, so that people are trying these different things, and I think the range now of Medicom's healthy options is much broader than the old days when your beer choice was beer, and then big or small, pot or glass, and there was no low alcohol beer. There was just one tap, one blitz, and a pie. So, but I think that gets away from the fact that if you go to the Dallas Cowboys, you want to have nachos because that's where nachos became famous. Or if you go to watch
Yankees hot dog,
a Yankees Dodgers, the Dodger dog is absolutely a thing. They're again the same thing. If you go and watch soccer in New Jersey, same thing. There are certain things that they do that you will have.
So I have to go back. Chin Chin is at Cardinia Park now?
I don't know. I'm sure I read that somewhere.
I know they're down in Geelong. I know that they're down there with their Cotton On and their Ford, and you're doing a fact check. But I would love to see, and I wonder if it's with these large catering companies like Spotless or Delaware, whether that stuff can.
Oh, that's that is the deal. Is obviously they're obviously looking at trying to find other ways of adding value. Sometimes a mistake. I had a couple of seasons doing the Sunday President's Lunches with Collingwood, and one of the big things we did was remove all the pretentious food and just do half a chicken, really good roast potatoes, and watch and have grown 70-year-old men who worked in things like earth moving come up and grasp you with their huge horny hands and go, mate, that is a proper feed.
That's awesome.
And again, you learn there in those lunches, you cannot get rid of the sausage rolls, mini pies, and the scones at half time. Absolutely, got to do that.
I will say that when I've been lucky enough to go to a cool function at the MCG, party pies followed by scones with sultanas in them. I don't mind.
Oh, I'm a big fan of sultana. Club Chin Chin, GMHBA Stadium, Joel Selwood in the Joel Selwood stand.
Well, there's your problem. Isn't it?
Open 6 p.m. Thursday.
Wow.
Yeah, and you can check them out at clubchinchin.com.au. Haven't been.
No, but that's what you've done.
Because Collingwood never plays down there.
You and me.
We somehow magically avoided playing at Geelong.
If you get invited, you got to bring me now. We've got to go down Geelong Highway. Okay, the pie is the football thing. That's a British thing, isn't it? That's kind of evolved, and is it much different?
No. I think that's what's interesting. I don't think it is. The idea of a pie at the footy was like, wow, okay. Like you might find a sausage roll perhaps, but historically, no. Historically, there were no food concessions in the ground. There were little wheelie trucks outside the ground serving the brackish poached hamburger.
So that's an Australian thing, is the pie?
I think the pie's an Australian thing. I think it's proudly Australian. Obviously, the pies originate in the Middle Ages. It goes back a long time. And originally, they were made. The pastry, they didn't understand how to make pastry edible, so the pastry was like almost like brick, like slate, and you put stuff in it, and then you ate the stuff out of it, like the pie eaters we don't approve. Otherwise, take the lid off. That's the old way of doing it. And then they discovered how to make pie crust edible, pliable, friable.
And that's so it started as a bowl.
Yeah, so it started as a big thing, and then we put it on the table.
That's fun.
So I'm trying to think of where I've seen pies elsewhere other than in Australia, and I can't think of where else. Actually.
At the top of your head, who do you reckon was the first one to put things in things? Like a ravioli or a dumpling or a pie, thing in thing, edible thing in edible thing.
Well, the earliest jiaozi, I think, is 3,000. So the earliest dumpling is northern China and 3,000 to 5,000 years ago.
Edible thing.
So I reckon that would be. And they've found on the Silk Road, they've excavated an old kind of overnight sort of stopping point, and they found a really old naan next to a really, really even older dumpling. Oh, wow. So I love
an
that
old
kind of,
naan.
An old naan. So
old dumpling.
That's a great idea. Quite why they're both there together. It's kind of cute.